I was angry. I was already upset. My world was already rocked. I just had a grandson. I looked at his picture. Will I see him, grow up? It was a terrible time for me. Hi, my name is Jeff. I'm a two-time cancer survivor. When I was 60 years old, I was diagnosed with an atypical cervical spine cancer, and then again, stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer in 2021 at the age of 64. I'm being told, the surgeon tells me right to my face, says, Jeff, I'm saving lives. Your cancer is not, this is not cancer. Your mass is not cancer. So I'm going to have to put you on the back burner, essentially. I was okay with that. Hey, I'm not going to die. It's not cancer, but I'm in major pain. I've never felt pain like that in my life. And that's how I knew I had it, because it was all the way down my right arm. I woke up that way. I thought, well, I slept on it wrong, how you think that. But it went on and got worse and worse. So finally I got to talk to the doctor. Anyway, that was the only reason I knew about it, because it's starting to affect the nerve was starting to essentially, die. So it hurt. And nerve pain is very, very excruciating. So thankfully his nurse called me and said, we want you in for pre-op. And I go, great, because I need to talk to him. So I go in and I didn't say anything. And she's there doing the pre-op, and then he looks at me and goes, you're in pain. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not sleeping. I can't do this. I lost 20 pounds. So she calls the doctor in. He comes in like, okay, yes, and they're surgeons. Surgeons are very stoic. And I was okay with that. If it was my oncologist, I'd be a little, look, I need someone that relates, someone that has more of a bedside manner, more kinder, more understanding. That's what you want when you have cancer. But I understand, surgeons they go in, they go out, they don't spend a lot of time talking to the patient. They're just on their job. Their task is to remove this without paralyzing me. And I was okay with that. That's what you want in a surgeon. You want that stoic. So he looked at me and goes, all of a sudden I said, he saw humanity in him. I go, wow. He says, you're in pain. I go, yeah. He says, I didn't realize how much. He saw it in my face. So he said, we're signing you up. She looked at her and says, let's get him in. Let's get, this is not good. So he went in, my son, my daughter, and my ex-wife, Maria, is there. And I go in. And the next thing I know, I'm in ICU. He said, there was an occlusion to your brain. And we know we have two main arteries that go to your brain. And one of them was occluded, meaning it was blocked or semi-blocked. Great. He said, we could have lost you on the table, so we pulled out early. We couldn't get it all out. He said, but unfortunately, that's not all it. And all of a sudden, he started to water up in his eyes. I'm going, here's this very stoic surgeon who told me he's putting me on the back burner. And he got very emotional with me. I'm going, this is not normal. And I'm seeing all of a sudden, he's not a doctor anymore. He's just a friend. And he looked at me and says, it was cancer. So basically when I was on the table, they took a piece, they did biomarker testing, and they wanted to see what it was on their own. It was supposed to be what they call a schwannoma. And if you look up the term of schwannoma, it's non-cancerous lesion. That's in my record almost today. Anyway, so he said it was cancer, and I am so sorry I put you through what I put you through. So he looked at me. He said, you're going to be in ICU for a while. We're going to watch you. You're going to have the best. Don't worry. And I'm thinking, now my head is spinning because I have cancer. He goes, and I want you to use you as a case study in my class because it's so atypical. Are you okay with that? I go, yes. So he used me. He shared my information with the students, student doctors, who are probably working today because this goes back to 2017, end of 2017. And so I'm with him for 3 months. And all along, he's educating me. What is a biomarker? I had no idea. What is a CT scan? Low dose, high dose. I don't know. I know it's a scan. What does it look like? I've never seen one. MRI. I saw that because they tested me before they did the surgery. So he's teaching me what they all are, blood tests, what they mean, because he wanted me to be somewhat educated and speak with class and, you know, have my approval basically share my record. They're doing MRIs every 2 to 3 months. I'm seeing my oncologist through him every month because they're not sure what it is, and everything looks pretty good. They want to put me in for radiation. They want to go back and get what they left behind because they're still not sure if it can spread and how fast. So now I think they're doing some research on it. Fast forward about another month later, he comes in again. He says, "Look, Kaiser won't pay for you anymore. I have to send you back. I tried." And I was too young for Medicare. And that would have meant I leave the Kaiser system and then get private insurance, and then got to go back and look for an oncologist and look for neurologist. And I was seeing all it, and then where to go. It was just too much in my head and deal with cancer at the same time. Fast forward to 2020, COVID hits, March of 2020. My oncologist says, "Hey, look it. There's this thing called COVID-19. We're not sure how we're not sure how it, exactly what it, they're just learning it." They said, "But we want you to kind of shelter in place. Be careful. You had cancer, so your immune system might not be what it is. You had cancer, you had treatments, radiation, so on and so forth." It scared me enough to stay home, so I was sheltered in place. He said, "Yeah, but come in. You haven't seen me in a year or two, with the COVID and everything. I want to do a physical on you." So I go in. He said, "Make sure you're masked." And they said, "No problem." So I go in, and he listens to my heart and he listens to my lungs, and everything sounded clear. He did some little bit of blood work, looked good. He said, "Okay." He said, "Anything else that's bothering you?" I go, "Well, I noticed when I was on the floor playing with my grandchild the other day, when I'm laying on my right side, all of a sudden I have this little cough." He says, how was the cough?" I said, "Well, it wasn't a raspy, barking cough. It was just that was it." I said, "Yeah, I don't know. It feels like asthma." So he said, "Well, maybe, He said, "So I'll tell you what." And I said, "But I'm not really worried about it." He said, "Well, how long have you had it?" I said, "Probably 3 months or something. Comes and goes. It's not constant. It's just once in a while I get 3 times, and okay, no big deal." So he said, "Let's do this. Let's let's go down. Let's do a chest X-ray on you." I walk into the room, back into the room. I sit down, and he walks in after I do, and he's got that look on his face that I saw from that surgeon back in 2017, and he looked fearful, and he looked worried, and he turns the screen again. When a doctor turns his screen on you, he's got to show you something. So he shows me this rather large mass in my lower right lobe. I go, "What is that?" He goes, "I'm not an oncologist, but I think it's cancer. It looks to me to be. I can't tell you if it is or not." I go, "Is it related?" He says, "We don't know." So his very stoic face also turned. He said, "I'm sending you in stat for a CT scan, stat for a PT scan. We got to look at this." And he was worried. So I had the pulmonologist, and they came back and they read the scans, and it was cancer. And I said, "Are you doing biomarker testing on this?" Because I then clicked into my taught mode from back 2017, that surgeon. He said, "Yes, this is what it is." He was amazing. He was very thorough. He was very caring. He was very genuine. He too showed me the screens. He explained the scans. He showed me where the mass was. He showed me what it looked. But he's reading the radiologist report, and on the radiologist report it says the mass in the lower right lobe has grown significantly since the scans of 2017, 2018. And he says, "Are you aware of this?" I said, and I probably was pale as a sheet. I this guy who's very vocal got very silent. I go, no. So basically, I was misdiagnosed by a radiologist report. It wasn't mentioned in the radiologist report back in 2017, 2018. The mass was seen, and it was probably stage 1A or B, and was operable. And it could have been removed, and my prognosis today would have been a lot different. Angry? Heck yeah. I cleaned that up. I was angry. I was already upset. My world was already rocked. I just had a grandson. I looked at his picture. Will I see him, grow up? It was a terrible time for me. My family is everything to me. The reason I'm stage 4 is because I have five spots in my brain, and I had about 7 or 8 spots on my ribs, different ribs, my femur, and my femur by my hip and my clavicle. So they were going to do radiation and chemotherapy. That's all they can do for me until biomarker testing came back and see if I had a mutation. She said, yes, it is good news. You're positive for EGFR. You have your exon 19, which I didn't know anything about, right? Okay, what is that? And you can take what is called oral chemo or targeted therapy, a TKI. Okay, what's that? It's a pill form. You're going to stop radiation, you're going to stop chemo, you're going to take this Tagrisso is the name of it. It slowed me down, and I wish I saw that. I wish I learned that. And I've developed some great relationships with some great people, man. And it's what they call you've heard it from others, the silver lining, or people say, and I don't like to say it. I don't have a lot of those stigmas that people say, like anxiety, and people will say, the club that no one wanted to join. Yes, but you know what? I've met some great people. You know why that is? Because something I also learned. You drop your baggage. You drop your walls. You're talking to these people like they know. I mean, you're talking to them about personal things, right? That you probably wouldn't talk to people about. And with these people you just met, you're talking to them like they're your family, your best friend, and they are. A lot of them are. And you become very close, fast friends. So those are, 2 big things I learned, how to just drop your, I hate to say it, drop your shit. Just open up a little bit. It's cool. You're okay. You're not, you can still protect yourself and open yourself up too. Vulnerability is not a weakness either, So it taught me all that. I was guarded of all that usually. You always have to have hope. And it's hard. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there is. We're not sure how bright that light's going to be until you get more deep into it, but take it day by day. Don't look at the big picture. If you look at the big picture all at once, and this is in life too, and this is also another lesson of mine. If you look at the big picture all at once, you can't normally make a good decision because you're looking at this big picture and it gets really huge and you can't sleep. And so just one thing at a time, one step at a time.